It's a beautiful day today in the neighborhood. Welcome to Monday, beginning of another week, beginning of another month, and brand new possibilities with God this week. Welcome. So the other day I was thinking of the Psalm, and I know there's a song to it. I'm not going to sing it, I'll spare you that. But the Psalm says, Psalm 42 verse 1 says, as the hart or as the deer pants and longs for the water brooks, so I pant and long for you, O God. A few years ago, I was listening to a preacher preach about this, and I had always thought that psalm only means the deer is going to look for water, is thirsty for water. But he broke it down for us, and that's something I want to share with you today. He broke it down for us that you have to think of it this way. Number one, the water is for refreshment, and that's the first thing that came to my mind. And it reminds me of Psalm 23 verse 2 that says, He lets me rest in green pastures or green meadows and leads me beside the peaceful streams. So you can go there for refreshment. You can refresh yourself. As some people say they're going for a retreat, they want to go and meet with God to be refreshed. That's number one. And it's also a place for food. So if you remember, Psalm 1 verse 3 says that he shall be, or the person shall be like a tree planted by the river banks that brings fruit in each season, and its leaves never wither, and they prosper all in all they do. Let me read that again. This is NLT, and I'm used to saying it in New King James, but this says, they are like trees planted along the river bank, bearing fruit each season. Their leaves never wither, and they prosper in all they do. So that's the second thing. Number one, I said, is for refreshment. Number two is for food. And number three is for safety. If you watch all those nature programs, you see that the herds gather together for safety. Because if you're in your herd, if you're in your company, you're safe. But if you stay on the fringes of your company, that's when the enemy attacks. Or the other way is that the enemy tries to pull out the weakest looking, the youngest looking, or the oldest looking. If you move away from your company, then you are liable to get attacked. So that's another reason the deer runs for the water, for safety. Let's read a few verses together. And this is Psalm 91 verses 1 and 2. Psalm 91 verses 1 and 2 says, whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom I will trust. But the condition is I have to dwell in His shadow, in His shelter. Psalm 46 verse 1. Psalm 46 verse 1 says, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. And finally, Psalm 32 verse 7. Psalm 32 verse 7 says, you, talking about God, you are my hiding place. You will protect me from trouble and surround me with songs of deliverance. So you might say to yourself, well, I don't have a company. Find a company. Find a church. Find a church you can belong to, because that is where your security is. Remember, the deer is going for water because one, it gets refreshed there, two, it gets food there, and three, it gets safety there. Because once you go into water, your scent is lost. If you've seen those programs where dogs are trying to follow a scent of a person, once they go into water, their scent is lost. Because that's where your protection is. Your protection is not standing on the banks of the water and watching everybody feed. Your protection is staying with your herd. Let me remind you of Acts 4:23. When Peter was captured and he was finally released, and the Bible says that he went to his own company. You needed your own company. Who is your company? Who is your pastor? Who is your priest? Where is your church? That's where your security and safety is. Do not allow the enemy to pull you out and single you out to be attacked, because there's no safety there. There is safety in numbers, as they say, and there's safety with your brethren in the church. It's a beautiful day today in the neighborhood.